first timer to this channel, then welcome to you guys. Thank you for being here. This is the weekly swing watch list for the week of March 13th. I'm glad you guys are joining me today live. If you have questions while we are live, you can ask them in the chat section to your right. If you are watching a replay, you can ask those questions in the comment section below. You can ask them on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, so am I, at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can follow me there. You can ask me questions there. You can DM me there. Feel free to. I usually get back to you guys within 24 hours. The other place you can get a hold of me is in the Discord. That link is in the description below. It's free to join. There's a bunch of rooms in there for you guys, so make sure you are joining in on that Discord. Let me just refresh something here. The screen that you see in front of you guys, that's TradingView. I have gotten you guys a free 30-day trial to TradingView. That link is in the description below. If you decide to go ahead and use that subscription, then you get up to $30 off of that subscription, depending on which one you choose. But you need to start by clicking that link down below. So go ahead and do that once the video is done. And all the other links that are required there to buy the indicator that I've got for you guys or anything else are all located in there. And any information that I have on the Griswold membership, the private rooms for the Discord, that can also be found in the Discord, or you can click on the links down below. So let's get started on this list. Again, if you guys are new, you are going to learn something here today. You're going to learn how to trade without indicators. You are going to learn how to really become profitable while you're trading. How not to use, like, you guys don't have to learn all these 20 or 30 patterns that are, people tell you that, oh, if you memorize these 30 patterns, you'll be okay. But then you have to learn how to draw those patterns and learn to see them and decipher them. And it's really not required, guys. All you really need are the candlesticks to tell you what to do when you're trading, okay? It really is all that's required, and it really is quite simple. And I always tell people, when you simplify trading, trading becomes simplified. So that's what we aim to do here, is show you guys how to trade in a simplified manner. So yeah, Christopher's back again. He was on the daily watch list. Make sure you guys check that out as well. It's already on the channel posted. We did that one live as well. So thanks for coming back, Christopher, for the weekly swing list. There are a lot more plays on the weekly swing than there were on the daily setup. So I will tell you guys, the principles for swing trading and day trading with this strategy are still the same. Nothing changes. Okay, we still follow the same principles, the same strategies. I personally have a tough time swing trading because I don't like to hold stuff. So I'll give you an example. So I'm in a Starbucks swing right now, a weekly swing. I bought puts for it, and on Friday it was up 25%. And in most cases, I would take that 25% on a swing trade because I don't know what's going to happen over the weekends. Okay, I have no idea. So for me, that 25% is something that normally I would take, but I'm trying to learn to have a little bit more patience with swing trades. So we'll see how Starbucks plays out next week. I'm curious to find out. I didn't play with a lot of money. It's a small amount, but I need to. I'm trying to refine myself within swing trading. So we'll go through these setups here, and we'll see what looks good and what doesn't. Okay, so the first one we've got on the list is Apple. AAPL has a 2-up that finished red. And again, if you were watching this stuff for the first time, we use candlestick numbers. So a 1 bar here is an inside bar. A 2 bar a 2 bar only breaks the high or the low of the previous candle. So this example here, this is a 2 bar. We only broke the high of this previous bar. This is also a 2 bar. We only broke the low of the previous bar. So this is a 2 up. This is a 2 down. And then a 3 bar would break both sides. Breaks the high side and the low side of the previous candle. But if you guys want more information on that, make sure you check out my learning tools. I've got a beginner tools playlist. It takes you right from what the candlestick numbers are to all the different setups. So make sure you go check out those playlists in the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell. The bell will send you notifications for when I actually send these videos out, when I go live, when I send out the learning tools. And I've got over 100 learning tool videos for you guys to really learn the strat. And so many people that I've talked to have said, It can't be this simple. It cannot be this simple, and it really is, guys. It really is that simple. There's not a lot to it, okay? But if you practice this stuff and you go through it and you study it, you will become proficient in it. So Apple has this 2 up, okay? So we talked about those 2 ups. They're directional candles, the 2 candles, a 2 up, and it finished red. So a 2 up can be red or green. So when it finishes red, that tells me that I've got a higher probability that this is going to trend back down to the downside. Now, you hear me mention probability, and the reason I say that is because every trade, every strategy is realistically based off of probability. It doesn't matter if you're looking at this, if you're looking at EMA crossings, everything's based off of probability. So no one knows what when this candle opens up on Monday, no one knows if it's going to go 2 down, if it's going to go 2 up, if it's going to stay inside bar, if it's going to go 2 down and then reverse and go 2 up and become a 3. Nobody knows. And that's the probability. Probability tells us that we should trend down and hit targets here, okay? But when that doesn't happen, when we trend down and we start reversing up, what are you guys doing? How are you playing this trade? How are you managing that trade? And I've got video upon video upon video that shows you guys how to manage your trades, how to jump in on a higher time frame, set your triggers and targets on a higher time frame like we are here, but manage it on something smaller. Okay? Managing it on a smaller time frame. So Apple here, 2 up red. We're going to look for puts at 147.61. That is our trigger. So if I'm looking at a strike price on this, I'm looking at a 147, 146, something in that range. And my first target is just the low of the preceding candle's wick. Okay, because we're looking to trend down, we take the low of the preceding wick, which is here at 143.65. And then if you're looking for a second target, it's just the next preceding low of the preceding wick. Okay, so that one's in that 141.30 range. So that's the setup on Apple. We should probably talk about, I didn't talk about it in the daily video, I probably should have, talking about the banks. There were some banks that had some setups, but because what's happened with the Silicon Valley Bank, I would stay away from those because I think next week you're going to see quite a bit of volatility within them. So play them if you want, but be cautious of the volatility that might happen with them. And yes, they're not related to the Silicon Valley Bank, but it's a sector. It's the banking sector. So usually when something big happens in a sector, everything else usually moves in that same direction. So whether you're looking at oil or gas or EVs, whatever it is, healthcare, usually that stuff kind of moves in the same direction and follows suit to some degree. So banks are going to be quite volatile. There are some setups on there, but again, I've left them off. You can look at them, but be very cautious of them, okay? So Adobe's same thing. It's got this 2 up red. We've got really nice time frame continuity, except for the monthly here, which is sitting inside bar. So we can look for these puts at 328.45 and first targets at this inside bar. We're already 2 down on the 3-month chart, okay? So the 3-month chart, the quarterly chart, we are down 2 down on that already. So really, really nice time frame continuity here. And I talked to you guys in the daily video and a couple of you throughout the week about high probability trades and how you don't have to trade every single day in order to be profitable. So there are some traders that only trade 2 days a week, 3 days a week, but they just sit and wait. And one of the guys I was talking to last night actually was saying he was very surprised at how people who trade this for a living will just sit and wait for their setup. There's no FOMO. There's no FOMO for us to jump into a trade and having them feel the need to have to take a trade. We wait for our setups and that's it. So different stratters have different setups for what they like to take, but they're still using the same basic principles. So myself, for me, I really love to play that 15-minute chart. I set my triggers and targets there, and I play on the 5. And I look for reversals back into time frame continuity. And that's my bread and butter. And it might not be yours, and it might not be his, and it might not be hers. But find something that works for you guys, and then just sit and watch that. I can sit and watch SPY all day and watch for those reversals and that's all I need to do. I don't need to be hopping back and forth and back and forth. And it's okay if you want to do that, but that's not what I need to do in order for me to be successful. So what is it that makes you successful? You have to find your own little niche and what works for you guys, because what works for one person may not work for someone else. So back to here, because again, I get on these little rants, but we have this 2 up that finished red. We are preceded by a 1 bar. So we would call this a 1-2-2 rev strat. I have a video on that. I have a video on broadening formations. Make sure you guys are checking those out. Subscribe. Go look at those videos. Learn this stuff. I promise you guys, this will be the easiest way you have ever come across to trade. It was a light bulb moment when I found the strat. Because before it was, people would be saying, oh, buy into this, but then scale out at 20% or scale out at 15%. What happens if you don't get to 20 or 15%? What happens then? How are you getting out of that trade? No one taught that. That's what the strat does. The strat gives you clear indicators of where to get into a trade and clear indicators of where to get out of a trade. And if the candles reverse on you, that's also an exit point. But again, go watch those review videos. They are very, very clear. They're very easy to follow. So make sure you guys are checking those out. But Adobe will look for those puts at 328.45. We'll take a peek at Google. Same thing, 2 up, finished red. We've got split time frame continuity here. This blue line is what? Who knows what that is? Somebody tell me what that blue line is on my chart. I put it on there, and it's something that I use consistently. It's always the same color. It always means the same thing on my charts. If Marlon B is in here, I bet you he knows. Okay, so that blue line represents the monthly trigger. Okay, so if I go to the monthly chart and I look to see what we have on the monthly, we had this 2 up that finished red, what we've talked about, and now we're sitting inside bar. Lizzie MC, that's right, monthly target. Lizzie MC, you can either DM me in the Discord or on Twitter. I'm going to send you a copy of my book. Okay, Trading Psychology. But make sure you DM me, and I'll get you that book, okay? Thank you for the answer. 2 up, finish red. We're looking to go 2 down on the month. That's the monthly trigger, okay? So we are right close to it. If I go back to that weekly chart, and it's a domino effect. It's the weekly, we could go down to the daily, but the daily triggers the weekly, triggers the monthly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're looking for on Google here. So if we trigger our second target on the week, triggers us going 2 down on the month of March. Okay? So your swing play on Google, your 1 week swing play just turned into a monthly swing play. And when you're taking these, when you're looking at options on this stuff, guys, again, we're looking for a trigger price of 90.80, but my strike price would be a 90.5 if I have it in there, or a 90 even, or a 89.50, maybe even an 89 is what I would be looking for. So a couple strikes outside of my trigger price is what I usually take. On a weekly swing, I would not get 1 week out. I would get at least 2 weeks out. And feel free to get longer. If you want to get a 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out, the contract's going to cost you a little bit more, but it gives you a little bit more time on those swing plays, okay? So that's the setup on Google. We'll move over to KO, that's Coca-Cola. Excuse me, Coca-Cola has a 2 up, finished red, and this is what we call a shooter candle. So we talked about this in the daily video. I talk about these on almost all my videos. Strat Soldier, and we're talking about those high setups. Strat Soldier, Jermaine, Cyberdog trades actionable signals. So actionable signals, what are they? They're inside bars are one of them. There's 3 of them. The second one is a shooter candle, which we have here. We have this body, and then the wick above it is 2 times, at least 2 times the length of this body. And then the other one would be a hammer candle, where your body is at the top and the wick to the bottom is 2 times the length of the body. Okay, so right now on KO we have this shooter candle. We can look for puts at 58.99, and our first target is way down here at 58.36. We move on to lows. Lows with a 3-1 setup. So again, we talked about these 3-1 setups in the daily setup. So I have an indicator that I created for you guys, a Strat indicator. And it includes a bunch of stuff. It includes this time frame continuity. It includes these yellow inside bars. It paints the white outside bars, or the outside bars white. It gives you this gold highlight on these 3-1 setups and the blue highlights on the double inside bar setups. It gives you Sarah Strat Sniper's 50% rule, the candlestick numbers, and a bunch of other things. And the thing with that indicator is, guys, it's a one-time fee. It's $25, one-time fee. You get it for life. If we ever add anything to it, there's no upcharge. It's just added automatically. But that indicator is also part of the Griswold Gold membership, okay? So make sure you check out the info on the membership. But let's go check out these 3-1 setups, these golden setups. They don't happen very often. They're very rare, okay? So if we go back in time and try and find the last time we had a 3-1 setup on Lowe's, there it is. And I like to go back in time to show you guys these because they don't always work. So this one, for instance, we opened and we trended up, and we triggered and we hit targets before it started coming back down. Okay, back to the downside. So it actually ended up going outside bar. Would it have worked? Possibly. But then we have this 3-1 setup right here where we opened, we triggered, and then we hit targets. Okay, it did exactly what it said it was going to do, and then it trended down a little bit further the second week. So this is what we look for off of those 3-1 setups. And essentially, it is an inside bar. And so when we look at these inside bars and the yellow bars, I want you guys to think of a spring being compacted, loaded, squished, forced down. And when you have that compression on a spring and you release the force, what happens is we look for those big explosions that I just showed you, like here, where we have these big runs up here and these big runs to the downside. That's what we look for. And the outside bar really, it doesn't do a whole bunch, but it does tell us that it's an odd pattern. It doesn't happen very often. And probability tells us when we have these setups, they tend to do really, really well. And so there's a few things here. We have this inside bar. It's an actionable signal. And then the other thing we have is this full time frame continuity, FTFC. And so everything right across the board, the hourly, the daily, the weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly are all red, which means and is telling me that there are sellers right across the board on Lowe's. Okay? And when we have that, that's a high probability setup. Now, would I like to see these yellow circles tell me we're currently inside on a week, which we are here, inside week. We're also currently inside on the year. So would I like to see that without the yellow circle and just have it straight time frame continuity already being 2 down, not an inside bar? Yeah, I would. But this is still a really, really nice setup on Lowe's if you were looking for a weekly swing. Amar asked, and I know I went a little bit further, but Amar says, when you take 2 to 3 weeks out, how do you choose the Greeks in that? So, again, you can look at the Greeks and look for a 4-to-1 ratio, but realistically, guys, my strike prices, I don't take far strikes. My strikes aren't far out. Okay, I take high liquid stocks, and that's mostly what's showing here. But I base it off of strikes that are just outside of my trigger point, whether it's a weekly swing or a daily scalp. If this was a daily chart, okay, and my trigger is 196.09, and I was looking for puts here, I would still be looking to take 196, okay, or 195.50 or 195, and that's it. So I'm taking really trades that are really quite close to the money. But if you do want to go dive into those Greeks, you're looking for a 4-to-1 ratio on those, okay? Let's move on to Meta. Meta has a 2-up to finish red. Split time frame continuity here, but we can still look for the puts here because we do have at least the weekly. It would be less of a trade. I'd like to see this monthly in the same direction as well. That would give me higher probability for a better trade. But there's nothing saying that I wouldn't take it, okay, on Facebook. Microsoft, same thing, 2-up red. Here's one where we have that monthly that's red. It is still currently sitting inside week, but we have nice time frame continuity here. And you can look for puts here at 247.60, and the first target is at the bottom of the preceding wick. NEO inside bar on NEO, and again, full time frame continuity to the downside on NEO. I believe this line right here is 2 down on the year. So full time frame continuity on NEO. The better trade on this would be to the downside. There's not a lot of, and I'm just going to put these on here as targets. There's not a lot of room here, so I would be very cautious of NEO going in either direction here. It probably wouldn't be a high probability setup for me, despite having full time frame continuity to the downside. I would be very cautious of this target here. So you would go back and you'd want to find your next closest target, and it's way down here. Okay, where are we here? Right there. That would be your next target there, which is, it's quite a distance. So again, I would be very cautious on NEO. It wouldn't be something that I would be looking to play for a weekly swing. Okay, I'd just be very cautious of it. So from NEO, let's go on to NVIDIA. NVIDIA, let's zoom out here. And go to the weekly. NVIDIA, there's that 2-up red on NVIDIA. We've got time frame continuity up to the month. Looking for puts at 227.26. First target, bottom of the preceding wick. Move on to PayPal. PayPal with another 2-up red. And again, here's that full time frame continuity that we talked about. And that includes the quarterly and the yearly. So if we go to the 3-month chart, we can have a peek at where we are going to go 2 down. And it's down here at 66.48. And so my 3-month charts are marked out in purple. And we can do that just so we can see where we actually would be sitting. And then we go to the yearly chart, which is also showing me inside year. Okay, it's got the yellow circle on the indicator, and it is showing me inside year. It's the same spot, okay? So that purple line is the same spot to go 2 down on the quarterly and 2 down on the yearly. So if we look at PayPal, excuse me, if we look at PayPal, we've got target 1 here. Target 2 goes to the top of the wick because we have this gap that needs to be filled. Target 3, target 4. So we are very close to going 2 down on the year on PayPal. Now we'll see how it plays out and see what happens. But that is the setup. We can look to go 2 down on the week on PayPal. Move on to Roblox, RBLX. Same thing, 2 up, finish red. A little bit of conflict with the time frame there. We've got puts at $39.15. Shopify, there's another 2 up red. Puts at $40.52. I don't talk about broadening formations a lot, guys, but we have hit the top. Okay, top to the bottom. We came back up, tagged the bottom again, and there we are at the top. And we tagged it, and now we are trending back to the downside. So we'll see if we come down and tag the bottom of these BFs. But we have a 2 up, finished red. We'll look for puts on Shopify. Space has an inside bar. And again, the last time we had an inside bar, we looked for those big explosions. And I like to explain it like this. It's almost like people call it a flag or like a inverse broadening formation. And what we have is this. Okay? We have this little flag here. And this little gap is squeezed and tightened, and there's no room for it to go. So it has no choice but to either run up this way or run to the downside. And that's exactly what happened. We ran to the downside. We triggered, and we hit targets 1, targets 2, and targets 3 a couple weeks ago on Space, Virgin Galactic. So we're going to look for that exact same thing, that exact same type of setup coming into this week on Space. Okay, so we'll look for that same thing. We're going to look for that big break to the upside or the downside. We've got time frame continuity to the downside currently. So we'll see what happens with Space leading into next week. XLU, that's a utilities ETF with Spider. Full time frame continuity to the downside. Calls at 66.80, but the puts are the higher probability play. So first target, bottom of the wick, next target, bottom of the next lowest preceding wick. Okay, we're not going through candles to find the wicks. It's just the next closest. Okay, right there. And then we find the next closest is there and here. And this orange line, that's my yearly marker. Okay, that's for us to go 2 down on the year. Right there. Okay, we're looking to go 2 up, 2 down, red. 2 down on the year on XLU. Hey, if you guys have questions, I'll take them now if you guys have any. We've gone through the list. But I'll give you guys some time to ask some questions. I didn't talk about too much about the membership, but the membership is $50. You buy 2 months, you get the 3rd month free. It includes one-on-ones with myself, so we can have a discussion, just you and me on Google Meets or Zoom, whatever works. It gives out live trades. I have live trading bots on ticker symbols like SPY, QQQ, Disney, Tesla, DIA, and a bunch of others. So it sends out live trades to you guys. You don't have to go searching for them. And it sends out trades on the 5, the 15, the 30, and the hourly. So it gives you live setups, so you don't have to go looking for them. The top 5 from the weekly swings, from the daily watch list, you guys get those as well. You get the indicator, the Griswold Strat indicator. I'm trying to think of what else comes with it. There's a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, check it out. And if it works for you guys, awesome. And if not, that's okay too. If you need the extra help, it's there for you guys to get the extra help. I try daily to go on live trading with you guys. It's usually around 12 noon Eastern every day, sometime in around there. But I usually hop into the live trading room if you guys have questions or if you guys need me to look at charts. Usually around the same time every single day. So if you guys don't have questions, it doesn't look like it. If you think of them after, leave them in the comments section. Leave them on Twitter. You can DM me there or leave them in the Discord. Other than that, guys, good luck trading. I hope you guys are green next week. I wish you nothing but the best as always. And we will see you guys all on the next one. Bye-bye.